So yeah, we don't do real intros, so you know how the ShadowCast go. We just be talking, and you don't know when I press go. We just go from there.
Actually,
so.
I can see it. It says live.
Oh,
it says live.
Oh, it does. All right.
Yeah.
So let me close the other one over here. So gotta love it. Echoes everywhere. Just all kind of good stuff. So now that we're here, we can go ahead and start the topic of discussion. Welcome to ShadowCast 49, gents. Yeah, it's been a minute. People thought I probably was gonna do one for the rest of the year. You know how they go. But good track record. This is impromptu because this foolishness just could not be ignored. I try to sit back and watch usually because stuff irons itself out, but this is just. Man,
so at what point did you say to hell with this? Because I was just laughing this morning.
Yeah,
so
I'm just like. So when I saw the tweets this morning, I was like, so you just can't hold the L. Like I don't want to get it. Okay, man, look, we'll do the normal intros like welcome to the ShadowCast, whatnot. Yeah, man. Fuck all your favorite YouTubers. We here. I got with me, I got Jay Fleming and I got Sandstorm McDowell from Winging It Crew. They up in here. And I promised that I would always promote this podcast. Y'all need to watch Winging It Crew podcast on Sundays. Even if I'm not there, go watch. So if you're here for a reason and you want to see shenanigans, you probably want to see me say some wild, stupid shit, which I'm going to do because it's a ShadowCast. So that's definitely what I'm going to do. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start with I want to jump straight to the topic. So, man, y'all just tell me what games y'all been gaming, man. So, I'll start with Jay. What games you been gaming?
I'm still doing it. I haven't beat Xenoblade Chronicles 3 yet because I'm still going through and beating the uniques before I go break my foot off in Z's ass. And I've messed around and forgot that I had Time Splitters 3 Future Perfect on my Xbox. So
okay.
I've been playing that in Jade Empire.
Man, blast from the past.
That's the game that should have got freaking. I know people love Mass Effect, but sorry, I like Jade Empire more.
And Mass Effect 3 was so recent. It just didn't seem like the time to do a full on like HD-a-thon or re-HD-a-thon of that franchise. So yeah, Jade Empire would have been. Or just go back to KOTOR. Like, I mean, they did KOTOR, but they kind of like, here's the existing engine, but a little bit better, kind of.
Basically,
yeah. They should have. A full on remake of Jade Empire would have been amazing. So that's a really great game. I implore anybody with an OG Xbox. Well, really, at this point, you can play it on any Xbox system now through backwards compatibility. So
yeah, Jade Empire, Time Splitters, and it's another one that they got on there now.
Okay.
Through backwards compatibility, so you'll be good.
Okay.
Now they ain't get everything, but they got those.
Okay. Cool. So that's all you playing?
Yeah, because I'm getting myself psyched up for Bayonetta on Friday. So
you sure you're not playing that on Steam Deck, bro?
I don't have a Steam Deck, dude. I'm not rich. I'm on a budget. I'm on a budget. I ain't no baller.
Okay.
I'm a budgeter.
I thought we just made the default assumption here.
Yeah, dude, I'm a budgeter. I'm not a baller. I have never said I was a baller. I am a budgeter. I saw that price and I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait till the devil stop lying.
I didn't mean to bring that up to start anything, but I'll just say this: battery life, and that's all I'll say about that. Sandstorm, what games you been gaming, man?
Let's see. X. I had a very unfortunate situation last week. I think me and Jay talked about it. I was about to go into that cave. That's got the rares right in front of it, and I killed. I think there's 4 of them sitting right in front of that cave, and I killed off 2 of them. So I had 2 left. I took my daughter to go to somewhere special. She got in the house before I did. She grabbed the Switch and she wanted to play Go Vacation, and I did not save in between that point. So I was just like, you know what? I guess this is the end of the season for this game for now. Yeah, but it's crazy though, because that game really feels like it feels like an interactive anime because well, at least how I'm playing it, because like I'll play maybe like 2 episodes and then I'll go and do something else, which is like my filler, and I have like 5 filler episodes before I go and play another part. And then I'm like, oh, snaps, something crazy is about to happen. Wait, before it gets crazy though, let me go play this filler real quick. I gotta go play more filler. So Plant X, got back into Fallout. I think I said that before. Playing with mods on PC. So it's the 4K.
Okay.
Yeah. So Fallout 4, by the way, not 76. Which is turns out to still actually be a fun game to me. I'm still having fun with it. It's enjoyable. I probably won't stream it though. It's a game that I feel like I'm playing Animal Crossing with. Like I just got to make sure everything's perfect, and that ends up taking like 2 or 3 hours. Nobody's gonna want to watch that.
It's like setting up I'm not gonna in Xenoblade. I'm not gonna stream myself setting up a loadout. Nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to see that
unless you're actually showing people how to go about.
And
then you're not really playing. You're just showing them how to set it up.
Yeah,
so guys, let me talk in my mundane voice about how I'm going to do this loadout. And as I talk about this loadout, I'm going to have a break in between each sentence. And in the break in between each sentence, I'm going to ramp my voice up. So at the beginning of each sentence, I'll start it like this. And my next sentence will be like this. And my next sentence will be like this. And my next sentence will be like this.
I think you watched a lot of those.
It is impossible to have a full paragraph the way these guys do these videos. And it's amazing to me, but whatever it is, it works. Anytime somebody creates a brand new channel from nothing, I've seen people with channels start over with another channel just like that, and they blow up. For whatever reason, all you need is that and a catchy thumbnail, and people sub. I don't know what it is.
You're all set.
It's just weird to me, but I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh, you're good. So I'm still playing Diablo. I actually finally picked up Diablo Immortals on the cell phone, which is kind of crazy that it's so much like Diablo 3. I'm still not hooked into it because I was never hooked into Diablo 3 like that. I just don't like the way that it's set up. It's weird. It's a good game, but it's just weird. Went back into what's my game that everybody hates? Cyberpunk. That is I tell you, if you haven't picked up the game and you can pick it up for $14 now, I highly suggest you do that, because that game is it's really good, and the amount of work that they put in from the beginning to now, the game is very much different while being so much the same. So in a good way, not in a bad way. They've rectified a lot of the bugs that are in there. There's like few that are still in there, but they rectified a whole lot. I actually just bought a PS2 again, because my old laser disc, or the lens, burned out on my other one, and a so unfortunate moment of getting back from Legend of Dragoon. It's the battle after you fight the green dragon, and you have to go back to the castle to talk to whoever. I go back to the castle and the whole screen goes blank, but you can still hear the music, and I'm like, no, please no. So I got that, so I can finally get on my, and once again, I always bring this out, but once again, this needs a full-on just remaster or remake right here. There we go.
Oh, Parasite Eve, the first one.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it does.
But keep the original trailer. Keep the original trailer.
Oh man, yes, absolutely. That game,
the trailer, the commercial for that game.
Oh my gosh.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's it for me. That's all I'm running right now. I've been secretly playing Bayonetta 2. Just getting my fingers warmed up. So for Friday.
You some Wii U goodness a while back.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get back to that.
Yeah, we gotta.
It's just been so many games in the midst. It's really hard to go back to stuff that you've already played and beaten. But these people need to know March is coming soon.
Yep,
March is coming real soon, and y'all gonna be out of games Well, Wii U games. We gonna have them. But
I'm good.
Yeah,
I think I have a problem. I think the second part of this name here, Infinite, is that's my backlog. It's gonna be stupid. So yeah, it's rough, man. You know what games I've been gaming. Do I even need to like the chat tell me what game I've been playing? I'm pretty sure they can tell me real quick, and then I'll mention. Well, I mean, we got the normals. We got the normals in here, so I see all these guys: Dark Angel, Brownie, Sprites in here. Always with my ass in fighting games. And okay, got Gwen in here. All right, J Superman. Okay, see some folks in here. Yeah. And Brownie said Killer Instinct. That's how you gonna do me? You gonna do me? Okay, like maybe that is my favorite game, but I have not been playing that. I've been causing pain to everything in the environment in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So you already know how that is. And, doing builds that break that game. So did not know how to completely fill the talent gauge. I only knew how to fill it up to like 90%. I saw somebody with a video on Twitter and they immediately opened it up. I said, "Hey, what's that?" They never answered my question. So I was like, I'm pretty sure there's something that can do this. And I started looking through the classes and I was like, oh, okay, got it. Try it. So maxed out that class, brought it back over, and then did what I needed to do. And now I can just run around with Noah and destroy stuff at will. So
question. You beat the game already, right? Are any of those other classes post story or all of them during the story?
2 are kind of post story. You have to. I don't know if you have to beat the game then go back.
You have to beat the game and then go back.
Yeah, like two of them, they want you to. They're saying they're missable, kind of, right before the end. But what I did was I beat it and then I went back. Okay. I just went back to the most previous save, and then I went back to that area to do the quest for those guys, and then they have you to go different areas to unlock memories for them or whatever, and then you end up leveling them up to 20 as well, and then it's just insane after that because you give that class to other people and they break the game.
Yeah, I figured as much.
But
and then you can't get them until after you beat the game.
Yep. And then so there's DLC characters too. I'm guessing you're going to be adding. John Shepard said Xenoblade something. Yes, of course. And Sprite got to play Street Fighter 6. Okay, that's what's up. I saw a couple of videos of some dudes playing Ryu. It looks sick.
Is it good? Does it look good?
It looked good to me. It looks like, but it doesn't look like it plays like it looks like it's different. So it may not be like OG Street Fighter like we're used to. You know how like if you're used to playing any of the OG Street Fighters, you can kind of still get in and play 4. Yeah. 5 doesn't play like that at high level, and it doesn't look like 6 plays like that at all, not at any level. So yeah, it looks very different. The impacts look different, guarding looks different, everything looks like you play in a completely different way, like your priorities are different the way you play. So I'm really interested in that. I'm okay with resetting. It's hard to let go sometimes when you play a franchise and you're used to doing certain things a certain way, but I mean, sometimes you got to move on. Like, and you're talking about moving to 3D too. Like, if you're trying to expand the plane any more than just 2D space, you're gonna have to make some type of changes. There's no way you can keep doing the same things over and over. I mean, Killer Instinct gets it right somehow, but that's lightning in the bottle, literally. Like even Microsoft was like, we can't do this again. So yeah, so I don't think anybody that makes a franchise of fighting games over and over and over again is going to be able to do that repeatedly as you move into you're trying to maximize what happens in the third dimension. So but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. There's something else I've been playing. I won't spoil it, but and some other games I've been playing in a drastically different way. And I got back into this beast again because it is a wonderful tool, and I highly recommend people go back and play games on that because they still age well.
Yeah,
unlike other games. So, but yeah, man. In the background here, we have a little bit of a situation. So I don't know what you guys know, but this girl here, man, this game done broke the internet, and I don't know why she decided to do this. Maybe I'm gonna think it's a master class of how can
marketing
I say this? by Platinum and not Nintendo.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
I would hope so because I don't think anybody could be this.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Educated, enthusiastic.
Like, how do you not know how your own job works? Like, just bothers me so much. I don't. But then again, it's also not surprising. But and that's why you have agents and they do a lot of negotiating for you and whatnot. But if you don't even know how that stuff works, man, you don't speak out of all places, Twitter.
Yeah.
To do.
No.
Absolutely
no. You go to Twitter when you want to stir up something.
Yeah.
Do we go there? Like, pretty much everybody in the chat knows what I'm talking about. So do we even need to? I was gonna like show the video and all that. And be
you don't need to do that. We didn't know. We
man, but so man, why this chick come out today talking about some?
She told on herself.
They think I'm a liar. And
yeah.
No, they don't think that. They don't think that.
Doing. Everybody watched the first video, right? She specifically said her pay for the entire project was 4K. US dollars. So she didn't even like try to say, well, it was euro and the transition of the currency. No. US. So it's not even that. You said US dollars in your video.
Mm-hmm.
And you stressed that this game needed to be boycotted or whatnot. Like, why are you trying to start foolishness, which is just bewildering to me? I guess the worst part of it all was that you tried to drag the new Bayonetta, she's probably one of the best voice actresses I've seen, like cartoons and games, whatnot, and some movies. There's some movies where she just voices a faceless thing, and she's great in that. So, and you're gonna drag her? Like,
I think
she's gotten SAG awards, so I don't know what you were expecting. And then you're gonna drag the voice of John. I'm like, why would you do? First of all, you just extra broke NDA because you talked about a game that technically doesn't exist, and you outed that because that should not be a thing. Don't talk about the thing that's not a thing. We don't talk about Fight Club. So if I was Platinum, I'm going to sue you.
Well,
that's what I would do. Just straight. You broke NDA.
Yeah, you broke
and now
NDA.
We've lost.
You broke NDA.
Now we've lost potential ad revenue that we were going to use when we were going to market the game. You've reset our project now.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
damages.
Did she really? Because it would be if people were actually boycotting. The problem is people ain't boycotting. It's actually shot up.
I really wonder.
Just increasing sales.
Because we're talking about some of the bigger known, not on the crumb side of YouTube, some of the bigger known people talking about they're gonna boycott. Like, we're gonna boycott, but I didn't see any website. I didn't see anywhere where I needed to sign for this. So were we really boycotting, or we were just talking about it?
They're just trying to tell people to basically it's mudslinging at this point. Like, you're trying to organize a smear campaign instead of having people sign a petition to say, hey, look, I will boycott this game or whatever. You had no true evidence of saying that this thing is real and that it's going to work. And it's just funny to me how people with thousands and maybe millions of subscribers and viewers, jump the gun so much. It's surprising, but not surprising at the same time, because a lot of these people got famous for really edgy, shitty takes off the rip.
Yeah.
And so they were just being them, I guess. But there are some other people, not so much, that were just, they're always kind of shady and looking for the next thing to get them clicks. And yeah, I don't think this is gonna be a good look for them, especially if they've already lied about talking to developers for PS5s and shit. Like, I just can't. Some people will just do anything. You get caught in a lie, and then you won't acknowledge it. You, in fact, double down on it and say you still have this access, or you still believe this person. Like, there's still people right now on Twitter defending this woman.
Yep.
Well,
I know the truth. I know what really
here's the
happened.
problem. The problem is, when she gave her little statement today, she pretty much verified everything that Jason Schreier said, and I can't believe I'm actually
backpedaling. Like,
I can't believe people making me. This is the third time this year that I had to defend Stephen A. Smith. I can't stand when I have to do that. Jason Schreier,
he right.
Third time. So, but yeah, she pretty much what she did this morning basically validated everything he said in his report.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you're caught. She
angrily said it too.
Yeah.
She angrily spilled it out.
Yeah. So now you're caught, and like I said, I know why she did it initially, because that's how you do it. If you want to drum up support and go viral real quick, you drop it on Twitter, because people gonna jump in, especially when you're just saying your side and you know that the people you going at can't talk.
Yeah.
So you know they can't talk. So it's gonna make it seem like, yes, I'm right, believe me, which is why you had a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm boycotting." And then when that stuff started coming out, and my thing, and I told y'all this. Look, I was on board until that third video.
Yeah.
When she went at Jennifer Hale, who ain't got nothing to do with this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she said, "Boy, kind of like, first of all, lady, Jennifer Hale ain't got nothing to do with this. She's just doing her job.
Yeah.
A job that she took, and she's doing her job." And
she
the second thing is,
right.
The second thing is, you said you felt like they lowballed you. You did the right thing. You said you worth more than that, and you left.
Yeah.
They're not required to give you that job.
But you still got to honor the rest of your contract, because you still signed one to get the bid. Yeah, so don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
but I'm like, okay, so you did that. You're not good at negotiating. Okay, that's point taken. A lot of people aren't. I understand that. But going at somebody that has nothing to do with this.
Film Shepherd? You going to go at Film Shepherd.
And this then thinking that you are the only person who made, this is not a Dustin Elysian tale where you're the only person working on this game. That's a whole bunch. You got graphic artists, you got designers, you got environment designers, you got sound team, you got composers, you got other voice actors. You telling people to boycott the game so they don't get paid because you didn't want to do the job. Ladies, sit down somewhere.
Don't nobody else get paid if you ain't getting paid. Yeah. That's just how that works. She's the original, so anybody else is secondary.
And the funny thing about it is, we got like Charles Martinet. Everybody knows him. He's Mario. Did he get mad at Nintendo for not
for Chris Pratt?
Yeah, not voice casting him? No, because that man got a whole lot of work too. Because we looked at because me and Santo, we looked at the IMDb page. You look at Helena Taylor's and you look at Jennifer Hale's. You're like, oh, so you don't like the work?
Yeah, she stay busy.
Yeah, like Jennifer Hale stays busy. Helena Taylor
had Bayonetta, and it was like empty after that.
Yeah.
Hold up, I'm just looking at some of her game stuff, bro. Like, she was in Metroid Prime.
Yeah. That's why we joked that, like, they were like, well, she was like, I'm not gonna be part of this, and Nintendo and Platinum called Nintendo like, yo, we got a problem, and Nintendo was like, all right, hold on, give me like 2 minutes. Is she still down the hall?
Yeah.
Okay, we got, hey, yo, don't even worry about it. We about to send you somebody right now.
Female Shepherd, bro.
Yeah.
Vanessa Schneider from PN3.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Shina Fujibayashi from Tales of Symphonia.
She was Miss Keen off of Powerpuff Girls.
Yes. Like,
What?
dude, like Jennifer Hale and Tara Strong have their voice acting resume is
she got
ridiculous.
a mile long too.
Yeah.
It's rough, man. Like, what were you thinking? Look what Monado Mario put out. She doesn't have a career. You're right.
Nah.
She ain't got one. She out here. I don't know what she was thinking. And this,
I don't understand how she would think that would boost her career anyway. If you go on Twitter and you break an NDA,
oh, man.
Yeah,
come on
like,
now.
Once you break an NDA, and like NDAs are legally binding documents, they can sue you.
Mm-hmm. Who's
They
gonna go after her
hell
now?
out of you.
Who's gonna want her on the team if she out here snitching?
Oh, nobody is. Nobody is, and we're not talking about just video games. Like if they wanted, let's say DreamWorks
Anime,
has
any of that.
what if DreamWorks has a movie they're working on, and she goes to throw her name in the hat? They're gonna be like, "Oh hell no!"
Nope.
They saw that. Oh
she
hell
said she's
no.
gonna go back to stage. Like, okay,
Right.
cool story.
Okay, so you're gonna be what's her name in Spider-Man? You're gonna be out here with Mary Jane and Spider-Man, huh? That's what you're gonna do. That's
she's
what
gonna
we're
be
doing now.
she's gonna be a crooked tree with mist on its knees in Macbeth.
I mean, talk about miscalculating, bro.
Man, that was
miscalculating.
Boy, you talk about dying on that heel, bro.
Yeah, but
she held the heel down in the figure 4 leg lock and said, "We both dying here." The heel is like, I shouldn't be a victim here. This is horrible.
Well,
she took the whole heel.
Yeah, well, that's one of those things where I sit there and I think about it. I'm like, okay, if you were really that upset, why you ain't say nothing last year?
Yep.
If you were really that upset, like, so basically you're trying to sabotage the game, and we all know how boycotts work for some reason. Because for some reason, when people boycott Nintendo, those games always sell best sellers in that series.
This should have been her hint right here.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because that's why people was getting mad at Kamiya last year. Because remember,
Kamiya allowed to say name.
Yeah, remember all he said was,
you know,
they'll show it.
Yeah, they'll show it when they're ready.
Nintendo didn't even publish the re-release of Wonderful 101. And Kamiya still couldn't say nothing. He's just like, well, here's this picture.
That's all he could do.
Here's this picture. Still couldn't say nothing. Like, these people they have legal ninjas for a reason. They sit there and they're like, hey, we're doing this. We're working on trademarks for this. We're working on contracts with these guys and these guys. Don't say shit. Just stay right there. If you want to tease something, you can tease something, but you cannot officially confirm anything until we're done with this licensing deal with Xbox, PlayStation, whoever. So it's just, and it's strange how nobody seems to understand that this is the way business works. Like it's not something that's complicated.
This ain't brand new.
No, it's not. I wonder what happened, like, at least with her, why it wasn't said last year. I wonder if all this took part, right? And she kind of waited to hear what the new Bayonetta would sound like, and that's what stirred it up in her. Like, oh no, she doesn't sound anything like me, like nothing, anything close. And then now we've been getting more and more trailers, and it's been eating at her just every single time. And she's like, you know what?
You know, the sad part is, as you watch more and more of the trailers, and the more you, like, if you play Bayonetta 1 through Bayonetta 2, you know what's happening. Like, 3 is going to be showing, it's going to be multiple versions of her. So it kind of doesn't matter, really. Yeah. To be honest with you.
We don't even know, because we don't even know if Jennifer Hale's voicing all the different versions. We don't even know.
No.
She may not be voicing all the different versions. She may just be voicing one or two at that, if that.
So Cornelia's here, like, yeah, she was talking about 6 figures or whatever, and she tried to double back and she tried to change it and come up with another figure saying 250. Like, nobody said anything about 250.
Yeah, that's the other thing with Jay Stroud was like, I didn't say 250. I just said 6 figures.
Yeah.
You telling them once again, you're telling
on yourself.
Yeah.
And so, like, so let's say she was, quote unquote, unintentionally telling the truth then at that point. $250K US dollars for 4 hours worth of talking.
Well, 4 days.
I don't.
4 days for like, I think it was like, I forgot what the hours was, but it was 4 days. She got paid because the whole 4,000 thing was like $1,000 a day. It was 4 days.
Yeah.
So it was like, wait a minute, who?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this Shrek 2 wasn't that much, unless you were, I don't know, Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Well, you have to pay them their actual
because they're actors.
Yeah, because
right.
of who they are.
But if you're just a faceless voice actor, like no,
like,
you're not getting nowhere near that.
Yeah, because I remember hearing the interview they did with Nolan North. I want to say it was Entertainment Tonight or something like that, where he was talking about like, yeah, dude, you have to build your resume up, just because that's what you do. You have to stay working and stay beating on it, because you're not making. If they bring in Sam Jackson, they're gonna give Sam Jackson money. You're not gonna get that. If they bring in Mark Hamill, you getting Mark Hamill. They gonna pay Mark Hamill money. You're not getting Mark Hamill money. So you have to just keep working and working on these. And then once you get to a notoriety, then then you can go in and negotiate. But until then, you got to have the resume to back it up.
She's officially the Cal U of video games. Like, what are you doing? You just gonna have a whole tantrum. Like, well, what are we doing? It's not accepted in any way, shape, or form. But
so I'm looking at Jennifer Hill's average, and it says she makes about $45,000 a year, which is like a regular salary.
And that's with her doing multiple gigs. Like, that's
crazy. Yeah. But you wanted 6 figures for yours.
And something about residuals, I'm like, they don't do that.
No. You aren't voice acting merchandise. You know what I mean? That's not that. People don't do that. You ain't Buzz Lightyear. You know what I mean?
Well, the fun thing about it too was the whole 450 million statement. I'm like, that series don't make that, because if that was the case, Sony and Microsoft would have never let it go.
Right. That it would have had to have been with merchandise and all that other stuff.
Yeah, they did a movie, but the movie didn't release in theaters. It went straight to DVD.
Mm-hmm.
So
I did the quick math in another thread. Well, actually, in her thread, I went straight in her thread and replied to her like, "Bruh, this math ain't adding up. You talking about 7.5 million copies to make that amount, and that's assuming they were all at $60 a pop."
Yeah. Right.
So the math ain't mathing, bro. But what are you doing?
Because that doesn't take it into effect that, like, because remember on the Wii U, the digital copy of Bayonetta 1 was like 29. I think it was like 29 or something like that, or something like it was cheaper than that. If you bought them separately, it was cheaper. One was.
You know
cheaper.
What I found out though, in that same thread, somebody went through and they're like, "This is peculiar," and they went to VG charts, and everything that was listed on the VG charts. If you just take all that, put it in a spreadsheet, highlight it, the total is 8 million copies, which puts it at around a little bit over 450 million. So if she did that to get the number that she was claiming that the franchise was worth, she's a certified idiot. I hate to say it, but like, what are you doing? Because the very first thing at the top is the franchise total.
Yeah,
so you added the franchise total plus each individual.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, didn't like on
counted them twice.
It didn't like on a PS3 and 360. It barely cleared a meal.
No, it cleared. It was like 1.12 million, I think, across PS3 and 360 over like 6 years.
Yeah, because the thing was, when it came to Wii U, it cleared what it was like 1.5 or something like that. Because they sold more on the Wii U than it did
per system. I think it was 480 or something like that for a real long time, and then they cut the price, and I think it went up. But at that point, they stopped counting them. So I don't know. I don't know how much more it was. I think they stopped because they just declared Wii U dead. So they stopped counting everything after 2015. So, and at that point, they were selling it for $20, or they were selling Bayonetta, the disc or whatever, for like $17.99 or something like that, and then the Bayonetta 2 disc for $20. They were just trying to do whatever to sell them, and then it was on sale for eShop for a while. So there's no telling how many extra copies they got out of that, but the official number that I know of for Wii U until they stopped counting was 480,000. So, and that's at 480,000 at pretty close to $60. But the people that bought it early though got it for 50. So you got Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2 for 50. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at the DVD sales of Bayonetta Bloody Fate the anime that they did. That's 1.8 mil. That's domestic DVD sales.
Okay. So that's
1.8.
But are they selling DVDs for $60 though?
Yeah.
No,
that's
like I think that's 20. Like, because I think when I bought mine was like 19, and I think you could get it now probably like 14 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because remember this didn't open in theaters. This is before they started putting in America, at least, before they started putting anime movies in theaters. So this was straight to DVD, and it only made 1.8. So if it only made 1.8, and then the PS3 and 360 barely made 1.1 mil, like this is not.
We still not at 5.
Yeah, we still not like. Where did you get that 450 mil from? Because like they don't. This series doesn't do that.
Yeah,
it's just not. It's and you know it's so strange because what you don't want to do is defend people that normally, I won't say spread misinformation, but intentionally leave out information when they quote unquote report. And so I respect Jason Schreier about that much. Especially for what was said today. And the way he reiterated it too was like, Helena Taylor admits that I was right about that. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, you put salt into the wound, bro.
Yeah. I mean, she, like I said, she told on herself.
She was wrong. You know, and the funny thing is that like now that we look back at it in kind of retrospect, me and Jay were talking about this on the first video. As a matter of fact, when we started looking up like all this other information, is like not only, and Brownie kind of said it too. People don't question Sob's story. Sadly, she like perfectly dressed herself up to make it as sobbish and as sad as possible. Like this woman was wearing a regular dress. You can look at her Twitter profile, look at her picture in the Twitter. Like she looks good, but then in that video she's got a regular dress, no makeup, just as clean cut as a middle class person as possible. I don't know if y'all have middle class in England. I don't know what that is, but as middle class as possible.
Not in that video they got right now, but go ahead.
Oh yeah. They on their third prime minister. Like, how is that? In 7 days, how did that happen?
Almost like their economic policy didn't work. But okay.
But yeah, so I mean, it looked like she was trying to get as much attention as possible and look as, you know, she was talking about the whole car thing, and you know, and I think we even questioned it, even on Winging It, like, this was your bread and butter, like this
should not be your only check,
like either you making it stretch real good, like you must be a real hustler because you making it stretch phenomenally, or something's wrong here.
It's programmers out here with second jobs, man. Like, what are we even doing? Unless you work for a big publisher, you got a second job. And the only reason you don't have a second job for the big publisher is because they literally forbid it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I don't know what she was thinking then. Spencer Williams put here in the chat, he said a lot of nostalgia around the Bayonetta 2 Wii U release and how ponies basically tried to tank the game. They failed, but this situation takes me back. Yeah. It's I won't say that she tried to start this, but all it did was start the ball running for the usual suspects to come around like, oh, look at Nintendo doing this, blah 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 blah. They're anti-consumer, and look at what they do. Look at Platinum, they're a horrible company. Look at what they do. So now you need to go and emulate the game. Like, what?
Can we? People, stop telling on yourself. I'm just gonna say it. Stop telling on yourself. Stop sitting up there and stop liking dudes being dumb. Like, you got people sitting there. Yeah, I'm gonna straight up emulate. Nothing nobody can do about it. Okay, bro. You act like nobody sees this. dude, people are going to prison for stuff they tweeted.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is admissible in court.
And I've said it before. Everybody does it. Does that make it legal? Everybody does it. Doesn't make it legal at all.
It doesn't make it legal.
So they're like, well, emulators are legal. Yes, they are for very specific reasons. Unfortunately, though, how will you use said emulator? Because you gotta get a game to play it, right? How do you get that game? Oh, well, I'm just gonna say, well, you can't download it, right? We know we can't do that. So how do you?
Where'd you get this ISO from?
I'm gonna rip it. I'm gonna use my tools and rip it. Well, that's breaking copyright, sir. What do you mean it's breaking copyright? It's my own game, and I bought a copy. Yeah, but what did you do with it? Did you bought a license? Did you break the encryption on it? Is the copyright holder still alive as an entity? Is it past 75 years? Is that copy protection that you just circumvented? I need you to read the law. Now, again, I'll say this again, just like I said on another podcast. Show me the law that says you can break encryption.
Yep.
For anything other than research purposes.
There ain't one. Trust me, I know there ain't one.
It's explicitly written, like it, and the only exceptions are approved directly by the Librarian of Congress.
Remember this? I just found this NES cartridge. Remember this? Hold on. Can I? It says right here 13. On this part, you can't even see it. On this part, right here, yep. It says, and I quote, "This game is licensed for Nintendo for play on the Nintendo Entertainment System."
So even then, even though like there's no encryption on NES games, right? Like you just dry rip them and you're not really breaking anything to do it. As long as that copyright holder still exists and they push for it, you are playing the game in a way that the copyright holder didn't originally intend for you to do, and they can still take you to court for that if they want to be petty. We're talking about, and Nintendo is a licensee at that point. They didn't even quote unquote make the game. They just licensed it for their platform. They're like, hey, you over here playing this third-party game on the system that's not designed for our system. So what we're going to do is make sure that if you don't do that, then we'll just file a suit for every time that you do it if they wanted to. Especially, and I just want people to understand, there's always some big YouTuber out here talking about the legality of this and how you can buy a game and do this, blah, blah, blah. Ask yourself, this YouTuber is super popular. They have all this money, blah, blah, blah. They got lawyers on deck and everything. Why don't they show the entire process of them ripping a game and putting it on the system? They always cut the black and they show the game already on there. They never tell you where they get these ISOs from if they pull them from somewhere else. Why? Why do they avoid that? They're big YouTubers. Some of them got lawyers as big as Nintendo's. Why do they avoid doing that?
That is not a winnable.
If it's legal and you could buy a copy and it's automatically legal, why don't they show you all of that from start to finish? Why don't they show it? They skip just that part.
Because they're not winning that case. They're not going to win it.
That's just strange to me. But it's always been, though, they were always waiting in the wings, looking for an excuse to jump on. That's the whole anti-Nintendo train or anti-Microsoft or anti-Sony train. Like, we need to emulate these games because look at what they're doing. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, you act like, and that's why I made the post and told people to go mow grass. I'm like, you act like the operating system you use to run said emulators are a good company.
Well,
out of all these companies, only one of them has been sued for antitrust multiple times by the federal government.
Yeah.
Only one.
Yeah, only one. And it ain't who you think it is. But the thing that I find hilarious is like the people that be calling people corporate slaves and mad about corporations, but have two packages from Amazon on their porch. I just find that funny. I find that funny. Like you calling people corporate slave this and corporate slave that, but you got two big Amazon packages behind you in your video.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. I just find that to be funny. I just really find that to be funny. Or they just went to Walmart that day. Or they went and got they just had to go to Target to go get them a vacuum cleaner.
Legend of Josh was on point. He said these YouTubers knew what they were doing. Nintendo plus controversy equals instant click. Of course.
Yes.
That's why you
Of
don't give them no
course.
play. That's why you don't give them no
Real
play.
good post.
Of course.
Don't give them play. You don't even click on their video.
That's a real good comment. Man, sorry y'all. I had to break for a minute because I tell you, man, being gal is rough out here, man. Being a family man is rough out here. I'm over here now. I am getting ready to vote on Dancing with the Stars 10 times. So,
oh gosh,
yeah, it's
super
rough out
Family
here.
Guy, Peter Griffin Family Guy.
Man, just rough. I mean, but you know what?
You watch Dancing with the Stars, bro?
he stood in the cold and bought the PS3 for me with Batman on it.
Sacrifices must be made.
Yeah, so if you did that for me, you're down. So I'll be down for you.
I feel you. I
would even vote for your favorite person on Dance with the Stars 10 times in a row for you live on a podcast, because why not?
Why not?
That's what we call give and take right there. So
I didn't even hear this man argue. Like, I'm on a podcast.
Nope. Not happening. He's like, it's Dance with the Stars time. I'm here. I got you. You got me, I got you. So yep, done. So yeah, go figure. That'll be my Bacardi break for the podcast. Right. But yeah, man, like they just use it, and so at least I love it because RGT is at least honest with it. He's like, this whole fiasco right here just got me so much extra money, and I'm just gonna post about it, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about it, and I'm gonna laugh about it. I'm like, at least you're honest about it. Like it's just, but it's other folks are just like, oh, well, we gotta right these wrongs, and I'm here and I'm posting about it because my Metroid Theory videos are not ticking like they used to. There's no Switch Pro, so that's not kicking like it used to. So down with Nintendo. We're gonna find a way to make some money on YouTube. I'm like, bro, like it's the gaming hobby is so varied. You should never run out of content. Like my problem is not outthinking myself coming up with content, because I come up with content and I'm like, oh, but what if I add this? What if I add this? It takes me forever to come up with something. But if you're just I'm going to spit out content guide, there's millions of different things you could do. I thought about at one point, just making a video just talking about the different RAM inside of each console, and just talking about, well, this does this and this is the speed of it and blah blah blah. I can just do probably 100 videos on just that. And it's people out here that they're struggling, they're just looking for the next thing to jump on. Like Lady Decade talks about games that nobody's ever seen before, and just the fact that, hey, I'm a girl and I'm talking about this console that hasn't been played in 2 decades, and people follow her, and her husband too. So because it was him first. So I don't know why they feel the need to where I gotta be attached to the latest drama or the latest rumor to get clicks. Yes, I know it's instant clicks, that's fine, but what are you doing between then? Because when there's a lull, now you're struggling.
Right.
So just have consistent, just have some type of consistent material, so it's not an issue.
It's funny because they try and stick with that too. Whatever the topic is, they feel the need to talk about it like 3 or 4 different times, and it's like, man, that conversation really wasn't that interesting to begin with. But we stood around for the first video, but now you got like 2 or 3 more videos of the exact same thing that you was talking about, and like I think that's kind of why I fell off with Super Metal Dave at one point. It was like, yo, you still talking about the same thing, and it's not. It was way before Switch Pro, but it was like, yo, you still kind of talk about the same thing, and like, what else is there really to say about it? Like, you kind of gave your opinion, you talked about it, but you still want to go on about it, and there's new information, but it's not really new information.
Man, that was probably the best picture of all time. The snapshot of Player Essence in him when they found out Nintendo went NVIDIA, because he had been talking to AMD for so long. So remember, like AMD and the new.
Oh yeah, he was all for it.
bro.
He
You
was
don't
all
know.
for it.
You have no idea that you're actually talking about a PS4 Pro, but okay, like good luck, bro. But no, that's not the Nintendo NX. Nintendo wasn't doing that. And I say all the time, like the only people who knew really then at the time was semi-accurate because they had the very first report on it. It was a pay site, but they had it first. Like if you go back and look, they were the first people to talk about it back in April of that year. Then your favorite people, your Laura Kate Dales and what's the other girl name? Emily Rogers and all. And then they jumped on the bandwagon. I'm like, y'all must have read the same thing because y'all all reported it at the same time.
Yep.
So it was just interesting to me that how that information flowed. Then magically Eurogamer, now we have an inside track to whoever's going to do what. And I'm like, y'all word for word copying what semi-accurate got. So I mean, all right, where there's smoke, there's fire. But when I saw, I'm like, their source was Foxconn. And the Foxconn leak had been around before they made the article. But when they said their source was Foxconn, I'm like, okay, so this is legitimate because the Foxconn link knew the names of the buttons.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, that's very specific. So that was just one of the things. But people always, they try to jump the gun because they rather be first than be accurate. So, Denzel Washington put that best anyway. He said instead of news, it's just first. And it should be more about news more than anything else. It's just frustrating to me. Like I'm seeing other people on Twitter right now talking about they're so upset because God of War doesn't look like a next gen game. I'm like, what do you expect? Like Mark Cerny came out here and said that he said how next generation is going to happen, and developers need to follow the model of what he was doing and what he thought other developers should do. And they said, "Fuck you, we'll keep our own engines, or we'll do the same thing but with Unreal Engine 5." And you're still going to have the same problems. You're still going to have pop in because you're trying to load everything in RAM super slow instead of streaming it. Like all these issues are issues from the 6th generation.
It almost feels like Mark Cerny was going through a Iwata moment.
Yeah. He was trying to tell people. But I cape for Nintendo, right? And I'm sitting up here telling you a Sony guy is right.
You just did that for clicks.
Oh, clearly. It wasn't about the tech at all. Like
you just did that for clicks.
So that's just, man, it's just really, really frustrating how this went. She didn't have to. None of this was necessary. It was okay when it was just like, all right, well, y'all got me, I'm out. You had to post it again last night. Like, why?
Because her reputation.
What reputation? For what?
I'm just saying what she said. Her reputation. Like her reputation.
Oh my God, man. Oh yeah, Brownie. He posted this one up. He said the pop-in infrastructure. Yeah, man, that's what happens when you have an engine that isn't designed around any specific hardware. You take the most high-end PC you got, you run the engine, and then you're like, all right, now we got to shoehorn this everywhere.
Yeah, when you shouldn't have did that to begin with.
Yeah, you could tell projects start like that, and it's frustrating. And like MVG did a video with Spawnwave when they were asking specifically about this 30 frames per second issue, and because I've had this argument before, well before they made this video, is Xbox Series X holding back development? And the whole thing is no, it's on the developers, man. And you got a certain configuration for the Series S and a certain configuration for the Series X. And most developers aren't even going to see it because Smart Delivery is going to do all that. So you build your game in your development environment for X or whatever, and then it does everything. But you can go back and patch later if you want to for Series S. That means you got to spend more time to go back and optimize for it. And it should be easy because the render targets that you have for Series X don't exist on S. You're talking 1080p to 1440p versus 4K. Series S ain't got to draw 8 million pixels a frame. So it's good. Like you just reduce your load and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about having to fill up 8 to 10 gigs of RAM when you don't need to. You're only doing 1080p, bro. Like, so, you might need 4 gigs of RAM maybe, depending. So it's just one of those things where, and what I'm saying should not be a mystery. It should not be something. This is how application programming in games or applications has been going on since applications existed. They exist in RAM. You find a way to get them to RAM as fast as possible. It comes on a disk. Well, let's find a way in between the disk and the RAM. So we'll just put this other pool of memory in here, or we put a hard drive in here, and that hard drive copies to RAM as quickly as possible as you play the game, instead of waiting to load it all in the RAM and playing the whole game in RAM, or especially if you don't have enough RAM for the whole game. So now you're waiting on hiccup issues here and there. So I've explained this a couple of times on Twitter, and it's amazing to me because some of the people that ask me these questions, like, what is Mark Cerny talking about, and why are you talking about? I'm like, dude, I've seen you post about the hardware of games and how this game can't run and all this. But the question I ask you, the question you're asking me right now, you shouldn't be asking because you should already know the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, how can you tell me what's possible and what's not possible if basic things like that you're not sure about? And that's the very first thing that you learn, like CPU, cache, RAM, in that order, then storage and whatever optical media in that order or whatever. Those are going to be your tertiary and your whatever optional media that you use or storage that your program sees. It's just so, I just don't understand how we've gotten to the point where the marketing for games is all about performance, but not about performance. We just use this one buzzword. We use this one buzzword and say we're targeting it for high-end PC or whatever. Because like when they show you the demo or the vertical slice, it's for high-end PC.
Mm-hmm.
Then once you get on the console, it's got all these fucking issues and bugs and shit, and everything that they promised you isn't there. And then they don't tell you anything about how it happens. They don't tell you about how many fields per second they're using per clock cycle on the CPU. They're not telling you if they're utilizing memory accurately or anything like that.
Remember Watch Dogs?
Yeah, and so and then I see stuff like, so Digital Foundry is supposed to be they're the smart guys, right? Everybody just looks at them and just says, well, they're the geniuses. They do this. They pixel count. I mean, I'll just say that they pixel count, and they now have a accurate frame time measurement tool, which has been there from other people. Like PC Perspective has been doing it well before they have. And I've always asked about this, and I guess they finally did it. But they did a video about the 30 frames per second issue, and now they're just like, well, we know that it's not the hardware holding this game back. It's just some optimization issues, and developers really need to get around blah 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 blah. Just a couple of days ago, they did the same video about Nier Automata, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, well, it's just the hardware." Bruh, if a developer ain't sitting with you and you ain't looking at the code he got, how can you make that leap? And that's what happens on a daily basis.
What's Gotham Knight's excuse?
Exactly. So they gave them an excuse. Well, it's not the hardware. It's just if it's the hardware for Nintendo.
Here's the thing.
There's always the hardware for Nintendo.
Here's the thing that I've always found to be stupid is if your console is so powerful, shouldn't that mean that these issues shouldn't even be happening? Almost sounds like to me that either A, the developer ain't as good as you think they are, or B, your system ain't what you said it was.
Yeah.
I'll say a little bit of both.
Yeah, because I remember when I got that email from Square Enix about Avengers, when you drove it into 4K, it was locked at 30. Same thing for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. If you wanted to play it at 60 frames per second, you had to leave it in 1080. Or if you want to play it in 120, you had to leave it at 1080.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't play it at the highest resolution. They sent emails out for that.
Yep.
So I'm sitting here like, but you kept promising. You kept saying them buzzwords over and over and over again. And I've told people before, I don't have a problem playing a game that's in 30 frames per second. Hell, I still play Ocarina of Time, and that's in 10 to 15 frames per second. I'm having a great time.
And see, the thing is, like kind of like Brownie said, is and I think I put this in a tweet um about performance is like when it comes to Nintendo systems, like everybody has to have a but.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
this game is fun. Oh,
But
this game looks beautiful. But I wish it was on the Switch Pro. I wish we could
oh,
see
dude,
it for
because
this. I wish it didn't run as poorly as it did. It must be the system because it's getting old. It's getting old. This system is kind of getting old. What is it? Long in the tooth. That's
yeah,
the word.
Mhm.
It's getting a little long in the tooth.
because I've
Except
seen
they've been
people.
saying that since 2017.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've seen people because No More Heroes 3 is now out on PS5 and I think it's on Series S and X.
Mhm.
And now people are like I can't go back and play this on Switch. I mean, why not? Why
The
not?
game was great to me.
The game is great. Like what's the real problem?
Mhm.
Because I've seen the gameplay. It looks the same.
Yeah. But Dennis says Sony Nvidia Foundry always has excuses for non Nintendo games, which is kind
Yes.
of odd since Nintendo's system is a Nvidia.
I thought they were a technical site, so it shouldn't matter. All things being divisible, you're talking about what's happening, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if you're going to keep that same energy, oh yeah, these systems can't handle 60 frames per second. They just can't. It's just not working.
These systems can't handle on split screen co-op apparently.
Yeah. I'm going to keep it even. I'm going to keep it even, Steven, across the board all the time. I'm going to say these consoles aren't being catered to the way that they should be. They're nothing.
Yeah.
They're not catered to anywhere near the way they were cared for during the fourth generation.
Mhm.
Like they wrote to the fucking metal for those consoles back.
Well, you had to. There was
Yeah.
no
you
drop.
had to.
There was no back then. There
Assembly,
was no drop,
machine
no
code.
object oriented. Yeah, you
And no
had to do it.
patching and none of that.
No patching, ones and zeros.
Yeah,
You got
You
a
had
round
to.
pool.
Yeah.
So then and even when tools started coming up in like the fifth generation or whatever, right? You still had those developers out there that just like, you know what, we'll write our own tool, and then we'll lease it to whatever developers want to purchase that.
Because Rareware did that. Stamp Brothers did
Factor
that.
5 did it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They made sound and video tools
Yeah.
for N64 and GameCube. So it's like seeing how quote unquote flexible and how modern these game engines are now. They have a downside, and the downside is they're not reaching down and touching these consoles at a low level. Everything's extremely high level. How well can you run a game designed for PC? And it shouldn't be that way. There's bespoke hardware in all these consoles, and they're designed the way they are for a reason. Like even Microsoft is like, and we're just going to be budget PC type of console, and you release a game and you're still not taking advantage of the hardware. And that's like, I don't know of anybody that even spoke well about the ESRAM on the OG Xbox One. I don't remember anybody talking about it at all. And all they talked about was the RAM. It has 8 gigs of RAM. And I'm like, but that DDR3 is just as slow as it was on Wii U. Like, more of slow is not, you know what I mean? And developers were like, well, that's why we're moving to PS4 or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, but there's a large pool of very fast memory on that Xbox One that kind of compensates for that. So you won't even have to worry about the frame buffer being refreshed because it does it so insanely fast in that small pool of memory there. Again, I'm talking about an Xbox now. I'm not talking about a Nintendo console. So why am I speaking this way? Because technically speaking, it is the same. So I'm going to keep that same energy and talk about this Xbox One the same way I would about a Wii U, because they're built the same. Like, why would I change it up for a non-Nintendo platform if I'm supposed to be quote unquote, technical and not a Nintendo fanboy, as some of y'all like to say? But why would you all of a sudden just say, you know what, for all intents and purposes, we believe that developers need to start getting their act together? No, they always should have been, because they're not from Wii to Wii U to Switch now. Switch is the biggest example of they ain't trying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
You
the
got
biggest
some that
example of
are.
that.
Yeah,
That's
you got
the
some that
LPA.
are, but most, they ain't even trying to.
And so you can't just sit here and say, oh, what? And now we got Nier Automata to prove it, because now you got a game that was ported from PS4. PS4 was the lead platform.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got a PS4 game on Switch running at a higher resolution. What say you other than what I've already told you?
Mm-hmm.
The Wii U has CPU faster per core, it has a newer GPU architecture, and it has faster memory per pin. So as long as you design a game around those three things, that means you won't have as many core counts. But if you're using core counts for audio, the Switch has a DSP. So you don't need to waste CPU cycles on audio, because you could just program it in a DSP. Done. You don't need massive memory for large render targets, because Switch is 720p to 1080p.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need that much. So as long as you can rearrange your memory in there shouldn't be an issue. It's newer hardware design. Yes, it doesn't have all the, as Mr. T say, the titty flops. But you don't need all the titty flops if you don't know what to do with the titty flops.
That is true.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean,
it's different though, because PS4 did 60 and the Switch did 30. Because that means a whole lot.
oh yeah, it's that resolution thing. I thought that 4K was okay at 30 frames per second. If you can go up in resolution
Mm-hmm.
and you lose frame rate to get that higher resolution, you'll go for that higher resolution. That's what PS5 fanboys told me.
Yeah.
So I don't know why all of a sudden that goes away when Switch is in the picture.
Well, and also, the PS5 is way, way, way more powerful than the Switch. So.
Oh, okay. Then why the games ain't showing it?
Basically.
And we know it is, but what am I proving? I'm proving that these developers ain't doing what they're supposed to do across the board. And it's not, and I'm going to say a lot of the times, the situation isn't the developer doesn't want to do it. It's going to take time.
Yep.
And nobody wants to pay these people.
Nope.
Because it's too easy to say the investors for the publisher get more money out of a quick project turnaround.
Yep.
Yeah.
Money now.
I mean that's pretty much once you got like billionaires coming in, all they care about is what they're gonna get at the end of the year.
Yeah. For the most part, it's only the first party people who really don't have to worry about that. Yeah. They're the ones who can really set on a 6-7 year project and be like, it's out when it's out.
So you see why I posted this question, right? Chanel posted. He put this question up. This is an interesting question, because this question shouldn't even be asked today, but it's still legitimate. This isn't guaranteed. Year of our Lord 2022. This isn't guaranteed. This is the original promise from 7th generation. This is what the PS3 was supposed to do. At least that's what it bragged about.
Yeah, but we all know how that went.
Yeah,
when people found out that it wasn't that, it was actually
not even close.
Yeah, it was upscaling.
The sad part is,
upscaling.
The sad part is, the PS4 and Xbox One were technically capable of this in every game. The publishers just wouldn't let it happen.
Because they had to get it out. They had to get those games out quick. They ain't have time to wait.
Mm-hmm.
We can't. Nah, we got to get this game out now. Not now, right now.
Right.
This could have happened in 8th generation. This could have happened. So the question is, why didn't it? And it's the same reason why you're not really seeing anything visually different than you saw in 8th generation on these newer 9th generation platforms. That started with Switch, by the way. Yeah, you're not seeing anything drastically different because they're still using the same routine.
Yep.
So until that changes, nothing else changes. Motherfuckers had to start from scratch, going from 4th generation to 5th generation, because now they're like, oh, this is 3D. Oh, what do we do? Oh, we don't even, oh my God, what do we even, how do we we don't even know what to do. Like, how we're jumping in 3D space now. Like, what? And they had to figure that out within like less than 2 years because PS1 came out in 95, Saturn came out in 95, the N64 was supposed to come out in 95. Contrary to popular belief, Nintendo was going to tank the SNES even though it was doing good. Nintendo was like, we're jumping into 95 too. It happened like I think late in Japan. But other than that, no, they came in 96. Negotiating 3D space. Needing a camera, something to manipulate the camera. These are things that developers didn't even have to worry about prior to that, and they had to find a way to do it in less than 2 years' time. And we got games over here with 6-year development periods, and they're doing the same thing they did in the 6th generation. They're just adding more voice acting, adding more realistic textures from photographers somewhere around. You got people going on zoo safaris taking pictures of textures and shit. Like this just and they want to charge you $70 for that.
Of which most people complain about because they say, how dare you charge me?
Right.
Yeah. And I got every reason to say I'm not going to pay for a $70 game on Series X and PS5, especially if you're going to tell me, oh, well, the increase in resolution in these games just costs more, so we got to charge more, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, then charge $70 on PC.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't because why not?
Because you're going to buy it anyway.
Right.
Charge $70 on PC. Increase the price on PC.
That's not going to happen.
That's how you build your targets anyway. You use a PC development environment. You have a PC kit over there that you test on all the time, and then you shoehorn it on the other consoles. You spent the majority of your money developing for PC. So increase that price when you port PC. But no, they stay at 60 over there. I mean, I think some of the games were still launching at 50 when the 60 thing happened. Like it was like Wii U was holding some of them back at 50, and PC games were still launching at 50 during that time too. So it's like they just got to the 60. So, but why is that? If your experience is going to be superior on PC anyway, why? So that's kind of where I'm at. Like that's probably the biggest takeaway right there. And I love these platforms, but what are they doing for everybody right now? Other than being a PS4 and Xbox One.
A pro.
What are they doing? I'm not really. I do like. Honestly, I think the killer app for me for the Series X was the barcode. Just straight up, just the fact that I got an Xbox One over here. I took my phone and scanned the barcode on the Series X, and I ain't got to do nothing else. I turned that console on. Everything that was on my Xbox One is now irrelevant, and now I have everything that was on my Xbox One is on the Series X now.
That's dope.
That was probably the killer app for me. When I saw that, I was just like, oh, okay, all right, I see you. Okay. I started playing around with games, loading them up on the SSD and stuff, and seeing how quick I can jump from game to game to game and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, this is cool, blah, blah, blah. Then I started running into the same issues I had on Xbox One. I'm like, some of these games do not support this. Some of these games fucking break. Like you jump straight into the game and it's like, error, reboot. What was the point of me putting you in suspend if I come back from suspend and it's like, nope, I'm broken. I pressed the home button on Switch. I pressed the power button on Switch. I pressed the power button on the home button again and I'm back in the game. Like I don't. What are we doing?
Well, that's because the Switch is very low powered. It's not as advanced.
To me, that was definitely one of the killer apps for Switch. The fact that you could take it and just put it on a dock, that's still to this day, that's still
the most convenient thing in the world.
I don't think anything else comes close to that. Like you could say, well, I could put a dock on it. It's not the same, bro.
Yeah, it's not.
I put my Steam Deck on the dock and then I loop this USB cable around the top and I plug it in and now it's not the same. You drop it in the dock and go. It's not the same. And I don't know how else to explain that to anybody. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much said it in the tweet. Well, actually, it was quoted from you, but at this point, it just looks like the PS5 and the next Xbox, like they aren't gonna get any justice this generation.
No, they're gonna be GameCubes and they're gonna be Wii U's.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're gonna be. They're not gonna get maximized at all. At least we saw Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii, but Wii U never got a shot.
Nope.
GameCube it was never taken seriously the way it should have been.
Well, I blame Nintendo for that because all they had to do was not use mini discs.
All they had to use is not use mini discs. That was the whole problem. It caused the whole controversy. You know what? That small disc, nobody's gonna buy that purple lunchbox.
Resident Evil 4, Baten Kaitos.
The Capcom 5, which actually wound up being the Capcom 4.
Yeah, Resident Evil remake. The original remake.
The original remake, yeah.
Those seem to resolve the disk space issue. I don't know.
You know what? I didn't play those. I played those at my friend's house.
So you didn't understand how easy it was to swap discs just like you did on PS2 and PS1. Some PS1 games had like 5 discs, but okay. Cool story. It's just so bewildering, man. But yeah, man, I don't know how y'all feel about all that anyway. Like, I don't know. I hate that it happened to her, kind of. It was kind of self-inflicted, but I do want everybody in the industry to flourish. It's just frustrating to see somebody go down bad like that. And then I hate that.
On it.
Yeah, I hate that people took advantage of it too. That's kind of more than anything else. Because you got your Nintendo haters trying to jump on it and stuff. You got your fake anti-capitalists over here to jumping on it and whatnot. And I'm like, bro, you was just talking about how you love Google Stadia so much. Like, you're not anti-capitalist, bro. Like, you're talking about a $1 trillion company like just a week ago, and now you're over here. Okay, all right, I see you. That's cool. Cool story.
Like I said, with 2 Amazon packages on their front porch.
Exactly.
So I want to hit 2 pieces of this, because there are some bigger people out there who, kind of jumped the gun and sided, straight up. They straight up sided. And as more and more information came out, they were pretty much getting bullied. I mean, you should expect it. I would say this: you should expect it if you're on Twitter and you're gonna give your little speech. Twitter is vicious. They nasty out here. Yeah. They don't care.
And they save your tweets.
Yes.
They come at your throat.
But with that being said, nobody deserves bullying like that, especially people who are kind of, sincere in their apology. Like, yo, look, there's a bunch of us who kind of thought this. I thought this. I was wrong. I didn't wait like everybody else. I was wrong. Those people don't really deserve the bullying like that. Like that's
it's the slimy people that you jumped the gun.
Yeah.
You won't admit that you jumped the gun. And then you come up with excuse number 7,093 of why, we still need to talk about how voice actors don't get paid enough. And I'm like,
compared to what?
Compared to what? And where were you at 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Because this was only an issue. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Jennifer Hale, she also voiced Alexandra Roivas in Eternal Darkness.
Oh yeah, and Eternal Darkness. Yeah, I've seen that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, when you look at that's one of those. When you look at like voice actors, that's one of those jobs where you have to keep working and grinding. You can't just do one thing and be like, I'm not doing that no. If Tara Strong, if the only thing she did was Harley Quinn, she wouldn't be recognized.
Yep.
Cree Summer. If the only thing she did was like Elmira from Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yep. And then she did
how much stuff she's done.
She did Tiny Toons and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, like she's Medusa in the Kid Icarus shorts.
Yep.
Actually, she's Medusa in the game.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, she's
wow.
producing the game. So
okay.
I'm sitting there like, if you gotta work. I don't know any other way to say it. You gotta work. And like I said, we went to her IMDb, and I'm sitting there like, where everything at?
Yeah, it was dry. They barely even put up Smash Bros on that.
Yeah.
Super dry.
Once again, you go to Jennifer Hale or you go to Nolan North, they like Jennifer Hale has like three or four more things coming out this year. She got like 6 or 7 next year.
Yeah, I didn't even know David Hayter was even deep like that. I thought the majority of his stuff was game and like commercials and stuff. I didn't know he was doing that. Man, they out here.
Yeah, but like I said, I wouldn't have known that if I never saw that interview with Nolan North when he was talking about how hard it is to get into voice acting. And he's like, dude, it's not easy. You have to stay working. And it's a small click. Yeah.
Yep.
You have to stay working because, dude, you don't know where. And once again, when you have people like Angelina Jolie and Kristen Bell and Sam Jackson, when they come in and they gonna get their regular rate.
Yep.
You're not gonna get that.
No.
And they will take your job just because they're bored.
Yep. Yeah. They had time.
You need it and they're bored. They just come in, something else to do, and I get paid to do it. So
I mean, it was funny when I saw the featurette for Afro Samurai, and the reason why Sam got it because Sam saw it he was there for another movie and just took the script off the dude's desk. And and dude said, he like, what am I gonna tell Sam Jackson? No.
No, you don't tell Sam Jackson. No,
no, he's not gonna say that. So, and when Sam read it, he brought it back. He's like, I'm doing this. What is he gonna tell him? No.
Yep.
No, he's not gonna say that. He's gonna we're finna make these numbers work.
Mm-hmm.
We got Sam Jackson. We're finna make these numbers work. So it's like that, and I understand. Like I understand that. Yes, they because everybody should be getting paid what they are worth.
Yep.
But at the same time, if you're not in that industry, please do some research before you start talking about that. Because I'm sorry, I don't know about y'all, but y'all make $1,000 a day.
I
don't.
Like I said, I don't make that in a week. That's
for 4 hours. For 4 hours, basically, like for 4 days, y'all make $1,000 a day.
I wish I could see. I wish that I could do the equivalent of this once a day and make that type of money she's talking about.
Yeah,
I
so rough, so frustrating. That
it's just you read the line and you pretend to be the person, and you don't even have to worry about visuals because you're not visual.
You're coming in your pajamas.
You're
in a room.
Inflation in your voice, all that. You just got to make sure your voice is right.
Yep. Drink some lemon juice the night before. Keep it moving.
Mm-hmm. And like Chanel said, I think a lot of people that was sane was that third video when she went at Jennifer Hale. Like I said, Jennifer Hale had nothing to do with this.
No need to do that.
Yeah, there was no need to do that. And saying so, we were joking about it. We were like the way Nintendo has been petty this entire generation.
Mm-hmm.
You're lucky. Like, I would not be surprised if in December there's going to be a Bayonetta Direct.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo would be petty enough. Nintendo would be petty enough to pay Jennifer Hale to resample all her voices and then update Smash.
Yeah,
they'll be that petty.
Yeah. They'll be petty enough to send her to Jeff Keighley's awards and accept the award for Bayonetta 3.
They'll be that petty.
They will do that. They will do that. So you saw what they did to David Jeffrey.
Yeah, no hesitation.
Look, you'll mess around. It'll be a patch to Bayonetta 3. You playing the DLC. All of a sudden, you come across an NPC named Helena.
Yeah, like dude, like they.
I took an arrow to the knee, and I'm here.
This post.
Please, Bayo, save me.
Posted why the Nintendo.
ShadowCasts told me to mow grass.
Post Iwata and Nintendo been on their petty shit. Like they been on it. They like, okay, test us if you bad.
Yep.
Test us.
Yeah, Quantum here he posted. And I kind of agree with this. I got a little rant on this, but I always talked about it before. There was a reason for the temporary price increases during the 4th and 5th generation. But it was a direct pass of the cost of the game to the consumer then at that point. So it was actually true. So he's like, the price model increases in the right. I don't believe we know who it is. It's third-party publishers that push for this. Really have increased price of games beyond $49.99. So.
To be fair, the game should be actually way more than that, because some of these games are, and I've had a problem with it, because I remember when I found out how much Darksiders 2 cost. Darksiders 2 should not have been no daggum $60 million.
Yeah. And Darksiders 2 wasn't even a AAA game; it was a AA game.
Yeah, so
it shouldn't have been. Why was it so expensive? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Once again, I'm on the camp of, I think the price should be. I really don't. I don't know how I feel about it, but I don't think the price should be like a standard price. I think it should be due to the game.
What type of game.
Yeah.
Well, if that was the case, nobody gonna buy Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. But then again, see that
nobody gonna buy Xenoblade for $200.
No, the game that nobody's gonna buy. No, you'll buy Xenoblade, because Xenoblade ain't costing that much. Xenoblade ain't gonna cost that much. But you know what will cost a lot? Call of Duty.
Oh yeah,
because Call of Duty has A-list actors in it.
Yeah, it's like $300 million budget.
Yeah, that's where most of like when Destiny 1 and 2, that $500 million that Activision paid, because they had A-list actors in there. That's who they were paying them, as well as all the other stuff. So yeah, like some of these games should be 70, some of them should be 90.
Yeah,
but that's without DLC. You should be playing that one flat rate.
Yeah, I don't even want to know how much they just spent on this last Modern Warfare 2 commercial.
Oh my god,
they got streamers and rappers, all kinds of people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have all this stuff, and look, I understand. I get what you're saying, but Miss K always said it. Gaming is an expensive hobby.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just the truth. So
for sure,
I just don't think that we should be beyond the whole flat rate thing. But the thing is, if you do that, some companies, so once again, we know like Nintendo stuff don't be costing that much. I think their most expensive game was Breath of the Wild, and that was what?
But maybe 50 million, if that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I don't even think it was that much. I don't even think it was that much.
Yeah.
It might have been like 15.
Yeah. So I think that was their most expensive game. I don't understand how they do it, but they do it. So, and this is, they put DLC in it, but did it really need it? No. Does Smash Brothers need DLC? Hell no.
No.
So.
But we created that problem. We shouldn't, like, people were like, oh, well, we'll pay for it. Yeah. They're like, we'll do it then.
Okay, then. Here you go.
But that's kind of crazy to think about. If you think about Breath of the Wild being the most expensive Nintendo game that they've done, and you think how long they've been working on that game for, and it was only that much, and that's nowhere close to anybody else's budget.
Like Activision and Ubisoft,
2012.
Yeah, Activision and Ubisoft still be north of like 25, 50, 75 mil a lot, depending on what it is.
And so for budget, I can understand that, but for your average game, like every game shouldn't be $70 coming out on PS5. Yeah. For what reason? Like just because it's a new, you can't say it's because it's 4K. Like no, like why? That's just a resolution increase. That just means that the disc has to be bigger, which means it costs you like 4 cents a copy instead of 2 cents a copy. Like these discs are nowhere near as expensive as cartridges used to be, and that's the only reason why the game prices were above $50 back then. And it wasn't for every game. It was just for the games that had the increased megabit sizes. So, and you got a 32 megabit game, and the average was supposed to be 8 megabits back then. Then you paid a premium for it. Your game was $60 or whatever. And if you got 48, like what was it, Super Metroid and Killer Instinct, I think it was, they were $80. So like, like that's what you expect to see. And 64 games were that high too at one point, once they started having to increase the megabit size on those as well. So my thing is that development for the most part has gotten cheaper for a lot of this stuff, because you can build like the legit license for individual for indie developer or whatever, for like Unreal is free.
Yeah, Unreal.
Yeah, you can go download it right now.
Yeah.
So as a matter of fact, they told you could go download it right now.
They told you could do it.
It's free. So so now you don't need a specific license for it. Now, if you want to publish and you want to do something, spectacular or whatever, you're going to work a deal with a publisher anyway, and then they end up paying for the volume license through Epic or whatever, and then go from there. Mm-hmm. But the building of the game, technically on paper, could be free before you even make your pitch. And then you make your pitch and you can expand the game if you want to, or ship it as is. Honestly, I think the idea should be, especially if it's your first game and you're an indie game studio or whatever, you should go at what you already built for free. Yeah. And then say, hey, look, I need you to cover the cost for this so we can ship through Epic to make this final build and then publish, right? And now your development costs essentially was free. Yep. You're just paying for publishing, which the publisher should be doing. And then you're good. So, I mean, technically speaking, you should be able to work it out now. So the problem isn't the development, it's all the little ancillary shit. Like if you have a game with a staff of over 1,000 people across the world, like, yeah, and you're having to do Skype meetings or fly every 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah, those are going to be costs incurred in your game. And then you as a publisher, that's your job. You eat all of that. And then you are supposed to get whatever profit is left from when you sell the game and go from there, or whatever marketing. Because since this is a project to you and a franchise to you, then you sell all the other materials, your T-shirts and you get your commercial deals for in between movies or in between commercials and all that kind of stuff. If they want to use you and see whatever kind of deals you can work with other people, whatever, to make your money on the back end, like. That isn't something for a developer to have to worry about. Like, they should just be, I'm going to program this game and that's it. And then you pitch to the publisher and they handle everything else. Yep. That's what's supposed to happen. But publishers are like, Sony paying for half my shit. Microsoft paying for half my shit.
Yeah, why would I need to?
Yeah. And they're like, what are you going to do for Switch? Oh, shit. That means I got to pay for everything if we put something on Nintendo's hardware.
Just tell them the system's too weak.
We can't run the game. We can't run. But it's not in our wheelhouse.
Then they sell, and then all of a sudden, when the CEO come back, why we ain't making a game for this system? Port it over.
The Sims can't run on the Switch. The way it works, it would be like, and then you're like, well, the character models are more detailed in Animal Crossing than they are in the Sims. Well, stop talking. Stop talking. Well, telling the truth.
My personal favorite is Bandai Namco.
Oh yeah,
they're my personal.
We can't even get the start screen running.
Yeah, but then 50 million sold later. Oh, y'all want Dragon Ball FighterZ?
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
So Dark Void asked a question. He said, question for the cast. Do you think Nintendo will push 4K for the games on the next gen, or will they just make their system powerful for a third party to use 4K and keep first party the same at 1080p? So before I answer this question, I'm gonna kind of give a little background of observation. So right now we have the Switch portable is doing 720 and docked is doing 1080. Nintendo, and I think I've talked about this before, Nintendo is an innovative company, and a lot of times when they think up something innovative, it tends to usually click, and other companies end up following suit. Now, had Steam Deck not been something that was as accepted as it is now, I probably would have leaned more into maybe saying yes. But now that the Steam Deck is what it is at this point, I'm gonna say no. And I think the most, as a humor, I think the most that Nintendo will probably do is maybe go 1440. I'm thinking I don't really see them going 4K, just because of how much that would cost. One, two, battery life, because I'm really under the impression that they're still going to go hybrid, and three, for the fact that it is hybrid, I think that sweet point is probably going to be the highest at 1080. So, and with, like I said, with developers being more accepting of Steam Deck and all that other stuff, I can see them biting the bullet and being like, well, it's either we spend this much money and making it as pretty as possible, which we can do for Sony and Microsoft, or we've got literally PCs in people's hands and now people are eating this kind of stuff up. We can get a whole bunch on here. And it's not just Nintendo now. So now we can come up with the excuse of, hey, it's on this PC. So let's just try and do what we've always done and just port it over without having to do any extra coding to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that it's gonna be maybe more powerful, but it's not gonna be to the point of 4K.
Jay, what you think?
If they're gonna stay hybrid, they're not gonna do it. And the reason why they're not gonna do it is the battery's gonna drain. If you put anything in 4K, that battery's gonna drain. It's not gonna last long. And there's nothing anybody can do about that, because if you have a phone or a tablet that goes up to 4K, put it in 4K mode and see how long your battery lasts.
Actually doing stuff. Don't let it sit. Actually doing stuff.
Actually doing stuff. Like if you watch let's just say you got a 4K phone, you put it in 4K and you're watching Book of Boba Fett. That 30-minute episode is going to drain your battery to probably 25%, even if it's on 100 by the time the episode's over with. So think about that and now apply that to a video game. You're not going to you may get an hour out of it if you do that. So I don't see them doing that, because one, that'll be the first thing people will complain about. It'll be the first thing they'll complain about. So I don't see that happening. Two, I do think they're gonna stick with the hybrid format. I just don't know what they're gonna do to differentiate, from what the Switch is. I know they're gonna do something, and it's gonna be crazy. It's not gonna make any sense, and we're gonna love it. We're gonna love it.
Some new thing they'll come up with.
It's gonna be something crazy, and people gonna swear they hate it, and then they're gonna play it and find out they love it. But that's the thing. As much as I like watching 4K movies, that's when you're, at home. Personally, I wouldn't mind if they give me my doggone Miiverse back and go back. But
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. But I don't see them doing it, just because it'll be too much of a headache if you're doing it in the portable format. That's why Steam Deck ain't doing it. If Steam Deck did it, that battery would last 30 minutes.
I mean, it's already short from what I understand.
Yeah. So
that's kind of what I was leading into with the whole battery life situation. Since you mentioned it, I was like, isn't it interesting how 10 years ago, that's all they would rag on was talking about this? They would just, the battery life is just horrible. It's horrible. How long does it last? Oh, about 2 to 3 hours, but that's not long enough. That's not long enough for me. I'm like, I played Steam World Dig on this thing for almost 5 hours at one point.
I don't know where the 3 hours came from, because mine always lasted between 6 and 8.
That's if you turn the brightness all the way up and you run in that way.
And now I have the upgraded battery or whatever in here, so it never runs out anymore. So it's like, and that's like a phone battery that's in here. It's not even anything that complicated. So it's like, and for people that don't know, before cell phones, there were terrestrial cordless phones that people had. And if you take the back off of it, there was a battery in there. That's the kind of battery that was in the back of the Wii U gamepad. So for some people that, we got to speak to all generations here. There's some people that they don't know what a Walkman is. So, but it was just strange to me, 10 years ago. I mean, it might be long ago for some people, but it wasn't that long ago for me. So 10 years ago, 2-hour battery life was a problem. But for Steam Deck, it's not. Now, keep in mind, Wii U, there were no compromises because it wasn't even processing graphics on that thing. So whatever the Wii U could do is what you saw on the screen. So now you're having a balance between performance and battery life on another device because you're flipping through settings for each and every game to make sure you can play without a cord hanging out the top of your device. And that's where we are right now. And I don't think any of the people, I think all the people that complain about the Wii U battery life, I think they imploded. Because the only people that are left that talk about the Wii U battery life have nothing to say about the Steam Deck's battery life at all. They have it's not going to be the same. Like those are going to be different people.
Yep.
So they just won't exist in the same space for some reason because they would have to admit that it's a problem for both systems, I guess. But I mean, it is what it is. So what do I think about the whole 4K thing? I already talked about it before, but I'm just to the point. What if they did 4K? What if they did 8K? Like, what would it do though? Like, how would that? That's not Nintendo's thing. Yeah. They don't jump to a new resolution just because.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a reason why. I know 4K penetration will be, higher by then. It'll be just as dominant as 1080p was once Nintendo finally started jumping in with Wii U and then Switch, right? But what else would be the benefit there? Because as you guys have already mentioned, now you're increasing TDP. So if you're going to play on the go, I'm thinking you're still going to keep 720p because you don't want that to implode in your hand. And then when you play on the dock, you don't want it to do like my OG Switch finally just decided to tell me, hey, look, bro, it gets hot in this dock. So now it finally started warping at the top, and the little grate at the top of whatever fell out. So it just fell out yesterday. And I'm like, boy, you a soldier, bro. You endured it for 5 years, and you were my primary driver for 5 years. So I commend it for that. And, I'll do some surgery on it later or whatever to fix that. But if that is what Nintendo's looking at, because you're talking about they love making things that are durable. They hate the fact that Switch is so flimsy. They want to do something about it. So whatever they're trying to create, they want it to be a tank like this guy. Like there's videos of people going out and finding GameCubes in the street, and then they plug them up and they still work. Like recent videos of people doing this. Like there's old school gamers and stuff that they're into retro collecting and stuff like that, and they talk about all the time how like this fell off a dump truck, like it's just in the middle of the street right in front of me. I had to go get it. They go pick it up, they go plug it up, and it works. I'm like, Jesus Christ! It just like you couldn't say that about the original Xbox or the PlayStation 2. Like if that thing fell over wrong, like it wasn't working anymore. So
I mean, remember when you had to turn the PS1 upside down?
Yeah, PS1 straight put that mug upside down. That was the only way you can get it to work. It was weird. It was something to do with the way the laser was pressed on there. You had to reseat it because it would warm up, and then what it was holding the laser in place wasn't seating right, so it wouldn't boot any games, or it would just be like, I'm gonna stay in the home menu. I'm not even gonna load a game. It's weird PS1. But anyway,
God forbid you had a Saturday afternoon and you had a Tekken 3 tournament going on for 4 hours.
That's rough.
In the dorm. Rough. Yeah, you had to flip that mug upside down. The only way that mug gonna play.
This is gonna be hot, but I don't know. I don't think there's any benefit for Nintendo to do that.
There is none.
And you're talking about now, and y'all complaining so much about the quote unquote performance on their platforms right now. Why go to another resolution when they can just increase performance? They can actually give you 1080p 60 frames per second in every game. That's kind of where I'm more and more agreeing with the rumors and talks about them doing adaptive resolution going forward in hardware. So you would have your DLSS or what have you to upscale. Because then at that point, you could play handheld on the go or whatever in native resolution, and then you put it on the dock, and instead of your system like warming up the hot hell and burning up for you to get the details and stuff you want or whatever, it may still be running at 720p or whatever and upscaling. And then you get your quote unquote 4K
4K,
image
yeah,
that's been played with or doctored, if you will. And you're none the wiser as a gamer. You're just plugging it in, boom, and there it is, and you go. Kind of situation. So honestly, I think that would probably be the more productive route, because you don't have to worry about that'll be less issues as far as like returns and stuff like that. Because you're talking about, you want a system that's going to be used heavily over time and constantly producing that type of performance. That's probably the best way to go about it. I think you just basically aim for, you're gonna have better hardware that does the exact same thing the current Switch does, undocked or whatever, right? So that's no sweat off a new processor as it is right now anyway, right? So whatever the new SoC is that they use, Orin or whatever they want to use, whatever the successor after that is, it won't sweat at all trying to run Switch or newer Switch games at 720p, right? And then you put it on a dock, and then you still run at 720p, but you're upscaling now. So you use whatever. They don't have RT cores because it's NVIDIA. So you use the what do you call those? The tensor cores or whatever.
Yeah.
So you use those to run your little automation and whatnot, and then upscale your image after the fact. So it should be, I would imagine that would probably be the best case scenario, and it's probably something Nintendo will do. And then that way they don't have to deal with it. Honestly, now I think about it, that would probably be perfect, because now they don't have to change memory clocks. They don't have to change the GPU clock or anything. It can stay the same, literally, in both versions. You're just turning on tensor cores to do the upscaling, and your system doesn't change at all. And now developers don't have to code for two different environments. They don't have to code for docked and undocked anymore.
Yep.
So if that's the case, that would be, honestly, I think that would be the smartest step. If they could find a smart way to make that happen, that will probably be the best way to do it. And then now you don't have to worry about, there's one code base, and you don't have to worry about two different versions. Because right now it's docked, really just getting smoked by handheld mode, because not too many developers are even paying attention to docked. They're not trying to. So, but if you can get the same experience docked that you can handheld, and it's literally no difference between the experience, then honestly, I think that's the better, because now you're going for the feature of Switch instead of, hey, this is a Switch, but it does higher resolution. No, like now there's literally no difference between you playing handheld and you playing on here. So the same performance you get on the go is the same performance you get docked or what have you. And there's no difference. You don't have to worry or wait for it to up clock or listen for a fan to kick up or anything like that. You just plug it in and it's there. So I think that's what they would do. Whether that is 4K realistically or 4K virtual remains to be seen. But I definitely think they'll at least do 720p both. Because I don't think 1080p on the go, I don't think it's too. Even Steam Deck is like 800p, bro. So battery life, man. So I mean, you can't 1080p on the go. Cell phone maybe, but cell phone ain't playing no game. The time you turn the game on your phone, that thing is dead. So
I'm saying, like, if you run anything like a game or a TV show or hell, even YouTube, because like on my phone, I had to take it out of 4K mode and put it in 1080.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering why my battery kept getting low, because everything it was playing it in 4K. So
that was the main thing right there. Prioritize frame rate. Yeah. That's
what was supposed to be happening this generation, and we see how that's going.
If the resolution is already there, why aren't you prioritizing frame rate? You already said they can do 4K, so obviously that means they can do 1080p, and then the previous consoles can do 1080p. So just prioritize frame rate and make it smooth, and go from there. Like, you got a couple questions in here. It says, will DLS help the battery life? Yeah, I think the goal is to not use DLSS on the go. I don't think. You do native on the go, completely turn off the tensor cores on the go. And you do whatever you need to do, play the game, however, whatever. And then when you play on dock, then the tensor cores turn on. And you're still playing at the same resolution, you're just upscaling. Honestly. If we're talking about the scenario I'm talking about where it's the literal definition of switch. Like you just go boom, boom, and there's no change. You're just going from in your hand to TV. That'd probably be the smoothest transition, I think. Instead of trying to be 1080p in your hand or 4K on the TV, I think that's too big of a jump. Just to be honest with you.
And let's remember, they're not going to play that whole power game. They already did it, and they're not doing that again.
Yeah, they're done with that. That's over. It's about the innovation game now.
That's an interesting take, though. I honestly thought that Nintendo was going to do it with Switch when I saw the Mario Party thing.
Well, I think the reason why they didn't because they was flipping off the entirety of the gaming industry.
Yeah.
Because this was basically them saying y'all don't know what y'all want.
Yep.
Y'all told us that we gave y'all a strip down. We took every feature we had in that Wii U out, and y'all love this.
You asked everything you asked for is right here in the Switch. Everything you asked for.
Oh, we got Juice in the chat.
What up, Juice?
And since he's in here, I want to apologize to him for the Sandstorm thing. I took his comment out of context. What he was talking about before, talking about resolution. So I want to make sure I cleared the air on that. But no, he made a good point in the last podcast we were in, where he was talking about would you take the increased resolution if you can get it? Yeah, of course. Like we're customers at the end of the day. We're gonna take what we can get if you're gonna give it to us without any caveats.
But I want the game to play smooth.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I don't want. I want when a developer tells me that this is going to be in the game, I want it to be in the game. I don't want somebody saying, "Oh, we're going to have split screen co-op," and then 3 years later, about that. Yeah, I don't want that. I want, like, when you say something's going to be in there, I want it to be in there.
So I'm gonna go back to Juice real quick because he talking shit. So we'll do the podcast. We'll eventually do the podcast. I guess it could be another ShadowCast unless Terminator Juice wants to host it, and then we'll talk about Xenoblade 1 versus Xenoblade 2 versus Torna versus X versus 3.
Actually, the best one is Torna, but we ain't gonna get into that.
Torna. A story probably hands down is probably Torna because the performance was just so good. Yeah. But
Torna fixes all them gameplay problems in XE2.
Yeah, and the gameplay was real good as well. So, I don't know, man. That'll be a long podcast, but we'll probably be arguing back and forth because I'm a stickler for X, but 3 is making me change my mind like so much. Like
Noah's the man, dude. No, I like Noah. Noah's the best damn protagonist they'd have never had.
Bruh, and it's just it's so good. And then have y'all played any of the post game yet? Like post game?
Not yet.
I can only imagine.
Nia is amazing. I'll say that. Everybody knows Nia's in the game. Nia's in the game, y'all. Spoilers, but Nia's in the game. She's great.
How is that a spoiler when they didn't put those trailers out with her and Melia in it?
Man, I'm just saying, like she's
Jenna Coleman spoiled that like 2 years ago. So.
Yeah.
When you're gonna talk to her at some point in that game, and then you talk to her again later at a certain location, and she has an interaction with certain characters, and then she kind of the way she looks at them.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's man, and the crazy thing is it makes you speculate about X more as well, not just 1 and 2. It makes you speculate about X. It's crazy because
they found a way to connect all of them.
They really did. It's interesting when you think about that. And Trinell got a good point here. They could go back to Wii U again. I just think obviously it would be still called Switch or whatever Nintendo's new name would be, because they want to. The goal is to be heterogeneous compute across the board and have an ecosystem. So I was inadvertently right. I was originally thinking back in the AMD days where everybody was still thinking likely they would probably go with AMD. I was thinking, hey, look, they're going to, like, whatever the new Nintendo thing would be, it will be more of an operating system more than anything else. So whatever device they put out, the operating system would be the same across all of them. And then they all talk to whatever kind of situation. And that's eventually what happened across multiple models of Switch. So you've got a Switch that doesn't switch Lite, but it still runs all Switch games. And you got the regular Switch that docks and undocks and Switch OLED. So it's kind of like an ecosystem kind of, especially with eShop and your accounts linking and all that other kind of stuff. So it kind of worked in a way. It's kind of becoming the Wii U and Switch mix of both, best of both worlds in that regard, because there's no handheld and console anymore other than the code name. There's no handheld and console is separate anymore. It's all one thing. So if they go back to that, I don't think they're definitely not going to call it Wii U 2. Whatever it will be, it would just be like the supplemental computing device or whatever it's supposed to be. So you play your quote unquote hardcore plug to TV game here, and then whenever you want to switch, you take the Switch off the dock and then go on the go or whatever. Or it syncs to the Switch that you have in your hand and you just do whatever from there. So that'd be an interesting thing. And this is the take that I really want to get. That's what I was kind of talking about before. I was just like, bro, yeah, that's true. That's true. Steam Deck has all the issues that claim the Wii U gamepad. Yeah, that's true.
Bulky.
Yeah, definitely bulky. Yeah, definitely bulky. I mean, interesting device. Very interesting device. I will say, and people forgot about this too, because everybody has fond memories of the Vita because it was so underrated, and it was. Underrated. Vita's library is insane.
That battery life was garbage, but that it was underrated though.
But I mean, you talking about an OLED screen, bro? Before OLED screens were popular, like it was gonna happen. It was gonna happen. They were not trying to do that. So, just a couple more comments here. We can get up out of here. Let's see. They're talking about the Vita in here. So I know it's let's see. This guy, he talking about player essence. He wanted a PS4 club. A lot of people did. That was this right here. This was not a one-off take. It was a lot of people like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they was doing that because when you would call them out on, they'd be like, "No, I don't want them to be. I don't want them to copy them. I want them to be themselves." Like, dude, everything you just said was a copy of what.
Yep. I'll say this. All of gaming press was saying this while they were damning Wii U. They were wanting the Wii U to fail and saying they wanted Nintendo's new console to be that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's literally what they want.
If they weren't saying that they wanted them to go third party.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they weren't saying
in between.
That. Yeah.
Which I'm like, Nintendo don't design games like y'all think, bro. So you'll mess around and then I'm gonna play this new Nintendo game on my PS4, blah blah blah. You press X and your character doesn't jump. They mapped it to circle on your ass. Like, what are you gonna do? I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, that's what I was trying to explain to somebody. I'm like, Metroid would not play the same on no freaking Xbox. I'm sorry.
Nope.
It wouldn't even feel right. I wouldn't even want to play a Halo game on the PlayStation. That wouldn't feel right. Like some stuff just don't feel right. Like, and just because you think this system has quote unquote power does not mean that. Because I know y'all saw the one about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 should be on the PS4 or on the PS5 because it looks so much better. I'm like,
they have to recode it,
dude. You have to. It wouldn't work.
They have to rewrite it.
And art style and graphics are two different things.
Art style and graphics are two different things. I still have to tell people that the realism in Call of Duty is not indicative of power.
And then here's the other thing too. They would definitely have to rewrite the game because that game was built for Switch, and Switch's CPU is way faster per core. So they would have to figure out a way to spread that amongst 6 cores. They would literally have to, because it wouldn't be able to keep up with the Switch's CPU per core. So if they just ported that over to PS4 and only used 3 cores just like they did on Wii, the game would be sluggish. They would have to figure out a way to use the 6 cores on it. So that's the other thing too. Like, let's not get it twisted. The Jaguar CPU was trash. It was not a good mobile CPU, and they avoided talking about it as much as possible for that reason. That's why they were talking about teraflop so much, because they wanted you to focus on the GPU, because the CPU was a tablet CPU. So, and now you have an actual tablet, which is the Switch, and it's significantly better in just about every category for integer and float performance as far as Switch goes per core. The only reason it isn't better overall is because the clock speed is lower in handheld mode and there's less cores. But if they all had the same amount of cores, Switch smoking both of them. So it's just one of those things. I don't think that's said enough. I think people pretend that there's in no way, shape, or form could Switch handle anything those other two platforms are doing, even though they've aged horribly at this point. And then I got the joke of the day here. So I overclock my Switch because too much Xenoblade. Probably did. Even other consoles use, and it's my other consoles using that. Yeah, they are. I mean, third-party games started using it a lot.
Yeah.
Tekken is one of the big ones that was using it a lot. When after Tekken 4, they had to use it a lot. And
the funny thing is nothing wrong with it. I don't know why people act like it's really a problem.
They over here acting like, why do you care about that one frame being perfect? Why do you care what resolution it is for that one frame? Because as long as you get 60 frames per second, it doesn't matter what it looks like for one frame. What are you doing? Are you snapshotting each frame and showing them to people? Why do you care? And it shouldn't be quote unquote jarring to you, because if it's 60 frames per second, are you really looking at the 59th frame and complaining? I mean, you're not Digital Foundry, so you don't have to do the whole Mario Kart 8 thing. Because Mario Kart 8, they didn't do adapt the resolution on the 59th frame. They just copied it, and they bitched about it. So whatever. Dark Angel said when phones overheat, they throttle, which lowers the power draw.
Yep.
But then performance is what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. That's why 4K wouldn't work on like a Switch, or it would work, but it wouldn't be what you think.
Mm-hmm.
It would be very crappy, because one, that battery life is going to drain. That battery life drains on what's the game that I was playing that it drained on? I can't remember the name of the damn game now.
I just know Call of Duty and Madden drain my kids' phones no tomorrow. They just keep the damn cord plugged up.
I mean, Pokemon Go did that too. I know everybody was having drained battery life.
Yeah.
Don't play with me. That's why you took it out of what's that mode where you can see the Pokemon in your living room. That's why everybody took it out of that.
If it wasn't for Mario Run, I probably would never have that issue. But it was most of the games that I play on my iPhone, they're usually puzzle games. I'll play those, and they don't hurt my phone battery at all, because they're designed for that kind of quick on the go play and then close kind of situation. But any other type of game that you're trying, it's just going to be ridiculous. It's not going to be what you think it's going to be.
Yep.
This comment right here, we'll probably have to do that more on the Xenoblade podcast, but there are too many hints in Xenoblade Chronicles X that reference Xenoblade Chronicles 1. So I don't know if he's being coy here when he says it's part of a different series. Why would you lace X with so many references of the first game then? That's just so weird to me.
I don't think he's being coy. I think he's just trying to
He's saying X is a spiritual successor, but it's aware of what the first game is.
Yeah.
Because remember, it's the Nopons, man. They tell themselves the Nopons.
Yeah.
And the Nopons are just we fourth wall all day. We know exactly what's going on. Hey, let me hold up a Monado in front of you.
Yeah. Basically.
And look at the camera and wink.
Yeah, my man's literally, what's this?
Yeah.
Oh, well. I know what that is. Why?
And then the Nopon arc stages, and then their commentary with each other is just amazing to me. They're just yep, He's like, oh yeah, there's Elma. Hey, how you doing, girl? What's going on? All right, I need you to meet these two guys. All right, now y'all go kill stuff.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on, but the Nopon know exactly what's going on.
And don't lose this invitation to Smash. It took me a while to get this one.
Right.
So if anything, Arc on Switch proves what people make games.
Mm-hmm.
Consoles don't develop games for you. Yeah, that's just such a bad example of. I think probably the worst example I've seen of porting was probably Turok on GameCube. That was absolutely horrible. And I'm like, Metroid Prime came out on that same system. What were y'all doing? They didn't even attempt to port that engine to GameCube. They're just like, we're gonna run this PS2 engine right on this GameCube and crash it. And that's exactly what
they did. Yeah.
Oh, just horrible. Somebody said, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 bigger than the last game? It depends on your perspective. Like, you're walking, so you get on the boat at some point.
Takahashi did say it's bigger. Takahashi did say it's bigger.
I mean, it seems like it's bigger. It feels like it, but also I feel like traversal wise, I feel like the movement is a little bit slower and too. So
it feels slower because it's like it feels slower, but it's they did a better job with the fast travel points too. So
yeah,
a way better job with that.
Yeah, so the whole Xenoblade situation is just kind of, I don't know how to compare those two worlds, because if you're on foot, you do get a vehicle later on. Also spoilers, but you could see this in many videos.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put it in turbo mode and it flies around, and you get around the map pretty fast in that area. And that area is huge, but you move around it pretty quick. Mm-hmm. So I'm imagining that would be like, that area, as big as it is, would be one of the smaller areas, and basically that would be Noctilum in Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah,
that's about the size that it feels like. I can't really there's no way to accurately gauge that, but that's what it kind of feels like to me, because you can it would take forever to swim around that entire distance, but once you get in a boat and you zoom around, when you zoom around in the scale, comparatively, you still fly. I want to say you probably still fly around a little bit more around Noctilum. Like, Noctilum might be a little bit bigger.
Noctilum is kind of huge. Yeah. I think what, probably out of all of them, Noctilum's probably the biggest one.
And there's so much to do, because once you, like, the tree alone is like,
and that's so far away. But I was thinking too, in 3, the desert area is not too much of a slouch either. Like, that area, that whole area is massive.
So that desert might be equal in size to Oblivion. It might be. That's one of the biggest areas of the game.
Yeah.
If you count when you first walk out there, like when you come straight from, I guess the south exit of the main area with the waterfalls and whatnot, and you first get introduced to that area. Yeah, that's a pretty sizable area. Now at this point, I'm thinking the z-axis. So now vertically, what are we talking about at this point? But there are some pretty high points that you jump off of in that game.
Yeah.
So, and did you guys find the area where you can jump from the highest point all the way down to another part of the map that you're not supposed to jump down?
Yeah.
Is that the finger? The finger area?
It should be a snowy area.
Yeah.
And you from there all the way down to the very beginning. Like, that's insane. And they only do it for that area. If you jump from any other point, it's instant death. So they specifically put that there just for you to see. Hey, we put a little hole right here just for you to jump down. That was kind of cool. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Do they ever explain the discs? You know how Oblivion had the discs, and then 3 in the desert area they have the discs. What are those from? They They still never.
And in those games, they don't touch on. So it's
I
obviously
hate that.
technology. So
I
They look
hate
like
that.
they look like Alchemoth though. They look like Alchemoth, but they don't explicitly.
they don't
say
tell
that.
you.
Yeah.
Man.
So I'm wondering what that has to do with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because of what is happening, dimension wise in that game. There's some leftovers from X in there as well. So it's like I don't know what this event is and what it's doing and what happens after the end of the game, because after the end of the game, the cycle's complete. So if the cycle's complete, what happens to all that extra energy and then some stuff that got shifted around, where is it at? So it's, I don't know, they're thinking way deeper than we are, because every time I look and I'm like, that should be a plot hole. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, nope.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. There ain't no plot holes.
So whoever's sitting down writing this, they're sitting down like a CIA agent looking for for mafia.
Got all the pins.
They got the string and they're connecting everything right now.
Well, they did do an interview with that team, and they got more stuff. They're not abandoning it, so they got more story to tell. I'm like, how? But I'm like, all right, I'm down. You know,
Yep.
I don't know where y'all can go with next, but as long as no pawns are being no pawns, I'm down.
I still wonder. I'm still on the idea, and I haven't beat it, so Shadow could be like, "Nope, that ain't it." But if X takes place just years and years and years, millennium before any of the other games,
I don't know.
I would have thought that, but I don't think so. I think it's after.
So it's weird because the way X starts, it almost gives you the impression that the event that happens during the end of 1 and also at the end of Xenogears, mind you, is happening at the same time. So that whole mass exodus is happening because of all the fighting from Xenosaga is happening over this artifact.
Yeah.
And so other species get involved in it or whatever, and you're just a part of the story of the humans that got away. So the question is, how is that tied to everything that happened right after that? Because after that, like, a whole universe got yeeted, and now you're beginning the process again.
You think it got yeeted?
Yeah.
They don't say. The only thing we know is Earth did get destroyed, but they didn't say nothing else.
Yeah.
And really, did Earth get destroyed?
Because two is asserting that Earth is still there, and that they just redid the DNA on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm like, okay, either Xenoblade Chronicles X is the present, and the world you crash land on is Ionios, all rest. You know, if it's a mismatch of that, or that conduit Klaus did something and tried to fix something and made it worse.
It's either that or the
Klaus tried to fix something, and I don't
the
think
conduit itself is going through a cycle.
Yeah.
So, like, if 1 and 2 were separate worlds, right? Yeah. And what's happening in 3 is happening in 3. It's a process, and that process is happening. Obviously, it got stopped in the middle of 3. That's the whole plot, right?
Yeah.
But it eventually ceases, and once it ceases, everything goes back to how it was. And I'm gonna say this is probably old Earth. And if that's the case, then it's still related to X, because what happened before that cycle started still had those people leaving.
Yeah.
My question is, what is Mirror? I mean, other than being the main character of X, spoilers.
Yeah.
What is Mirror, and why is it able to work the way that it works?
And why do damn No Pine know all this stuff?
And who the hell is L?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, L is the biggest question, right?
Yeah.
Because he never even at the end, he never really reveals who he really is.
No,
And they can actually bring him back in future games because you never really. They can bring him back.
Because if I'm not mistaken, he's the only of his kind that we've
only
seen.
of his kind, and
Yeah.
he only touches on it like once or twice.
Yeah.
Then
And the way he does it, they make it sound like a throwaway line, but it ain't a throwaway line because the way he talks, kind of like with the no pawns.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's easy to not to just overlook everything the no pawn says because of how they are, but if you start paying attention, like you're like, hold on, how you ain't supposed to know that? Because I swear in X and even in 2, because there's one in 2 over in Moardane over by the port that's just like working on the side of the wall, and I forgot what he said because he says it. You're like, okay, he didn't say that.
So
and you're like, what the
So there's characters in 3 that are canon in X, and obviously there's 1 or 2 characters in X that's canon in all the games.
Yeah.
But specifically one important character in 3 that was not as an important character in X, but she had a pretty big story arc. And I'm like, why would you choose to reincarnate her specifically? And what does she have to do? Why is she related to the other character that's in all the games now? And what does that have to do? And it's just so the way they pick these things, and they specifically mention how some of the other Nopon have the same name or in other games, but they're not the same person or whatever. At one point they talked about that, how Nopons typically don't interact with humans the way they do, but sometimes they talk to each other about humans, and the best ways to engage with them to push them on in the arc that they need to go. And then when dude said that, he looked at the camera, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Or dude questioning life choices, and then he drops a truth bomb out of nowhere, like, you should do this. And dude's like, that's pretty good advice. Then he looks at the camera, and then at one point, the girl, she's like, I talk about food all the time, but right now I'm gonna drop this jewel. Then I'm gonna look at the camera. Life advice, and like, come on, man.
Yeah, Riku and Manon are probably the best ones they done did so far out of the Nopon.
And Riku, and then there's a quest later on with him that is severe in-game content, so build your party up before you start doing it. But one of the last quests with him in it is insane, and he's just like out of nowhere, just, yeah, I'm that guy. Yep, I'm here, and yeah, and I've been about this life for a long time, and yes, I know who the Arc Sages are. Yes, I do, because who doesn't? Like, we're all the Nopon.
Man, how the hell he got that sword? That ought to just he had it.
Well,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. he had it. He had the real one, because apparently your boy didn't have the real one. Riku had it.
When you play the rest of his quest, it'll make a lot more sense.
That's what I kind of figured. I gotta find this.
Because yeah, and you need it anyway for. I want to say you probably should have done it before you beat the game, but you have to be so OP to finish the rest of it. So it's almost like no, because then once you fight Z with all that power, it'll probably be like 5 minutes. So like, I don't know if you.
So it's one of those situations, just going to beat the game and then come back and do it on the second playthrough.
Probably, yeah, and have your party built up and just kind of do what you need to do to get around. Because like, I kid you not, I stopped doing bonus leveling. And the people that I was fighting were so high level, I ended up leveling anyway. Because I ended up fighting stuff. I'm like 85, and I'm fighting stuff that's over 100. But I was able to, because of the way the game works and the way you're able to do team attack, you can milk your way around certain situations where you should clearly be dead. But as long as you're able to get to team attack pretty quick, you can kind of escape a lot of attacks that will wipe your whole party. you just kind of have to know how to milk it. And that's what I did early on until I started being able to build my stats up enough to be able to survive. And now, you know, I'm 99 now, so I can do whatever. But before that, you're talking, you know, mid 80s, and anything that was like level 90 could probably wipe your party if you waited long enough for that attack. So I was cautious the entire time anytime I would walk around, anything like that. But yeah, I would say do that quest. It answers a lot of questions. And yeah, that's how they're connected. I was trying not to turn this into a Xenoblade podcast. It is what it is. And Ray kind of said it all here, saying they're a higher species because of their cuddliness, which is insane. And yes, we're talking about the no pawn sages. Yes, we are. But yeah, this was the actual quote from him right here. He's like, "Hey, what are?" He's like, "Riku is Riku." Like,
common variety, no.
You're gonna when he says this to you, you're gonna be pissed.
Yep.
Because he's gonna look at the camera again. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So yeah, it's an interesting game. But I appreciate all you guys throwing your comments out and everything about Xenoblade Chronicles X, how big the game world is. We know that as much as possible. So if there's no more questions, you guys can give your outros. We can go ahead and call it a night. It was an average size ShadowCast, not too long. So what I'm looking at 220 right now, I guess, counting all the time we were trying to set up.
Yeah.
So I guess Jay, go ahead and give your outro and whatever you need to pimp today.
Right. Well, thanks everybody for joining the chat. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow everybody. We do have Winging the Podcast on Sunday. We will be talking first impressions of Bayonetta 3, so do stop by for that. Gonna try to have Vicky back because she's mad at both of y'all. So so
I got called out on my own channel, so yeah.
Yeah, so but we're gonna try to have her come back through because she did want to give her thoughts on the whole Bayo situation. So gonna try to make sure we get her in there next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's not gonna be a Let's Talk Live this Friday. I'm just gonna play the first couple hours of Bayonetta, no commentary. So that's what we're gonna do Friday night. And that's pretty much all I got planned for this week. So.
Awesome. Sandstorm, what you got for him?
So first things first, we are doing our road to 400 subscribers. We are currently at, I believe, 367, something like that. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe because we are giving, at 400 subscribers, we're giving away a $40 gift card to either Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft or Steam, to whoever won. I keep saying this. Congratulations again to Dark Void. He has won the last one, so he won the $30 when we hit 300. So make sure, once again, you subscribe to the channel. Also go on Twitter and follow us on Twitter. I believe the link is there as well. Usually we have Stormcast on Saturday, which would be Bayonetta, but unfortunately I'm going to the top of the Mitt. Juice knows about all this. I'm gonna be up. I'm gonna be up here. The only state that can use your hands, that you can use your hands format, but I'm gonna be up at the top for Friday, Saturday, and possibly Sunday too. So I may not be on the Winging It podcast, but make sure you guys subscribe to all our Winging It podcast members, Jack, Jay, Shadow, Andre, and as well Vicky too. Even though I'm still going to get killed, I'm still going to throw her name out there. And other than that, expect something to come from us soon, because I will still be giving out my thoughts, whether it's on the Winging It or on the Sandstorm show. We're going to probably be playing the game as well. So, yeah, make sure you go out and buy. Yes. Hurry up and buy.
Yeah, this is a ShadowCast. I don't need to get my outro, dude. Like y'all know what's going on. Like, make sure you like and follow Jay on Twitter. Like and follow Sandstorm on Twitter. Follow their channels on YouTube, and make sure you follow the Winging It podcast as well. So we all get together on Sundays. Typically speaking, I'll be there too. So if you follow me here, then you can see me probably more frequently on the Sunday podcast, on the Winging It podcast. So make sure you follow on YouTube and Twitter and whatnot, so you can keep up to date on our happenings. Other than that, still, as you saw, like live, we may or may not do a podcast on Xenoblade. I have to talk to Terminator Juice about that. We still haven't planned that out yet, but hopefully it can happen sometime in the next couple of weeks. So you can pay attention to that. I have a key light behind me that's kind of taking up a little bit of the background here, but that's because I'm getting ready to. There's a table right behind it, and it's holding something that I'm going to be reviewing. So that'll be coming pretty soon. So just kind of pay attention to the channel and not post whenever the fuck I post. So you know how that goes. I'll probably put a post on the YouTube. I didn't get a chance to do it today, but typically speaking, I'll put a post on YouTube and on Twitter so you know what's going on before I upload. So just kind of pay attention there and go from there. If you want to see me do debates or Q&As or anything like that, I can kind of set that up on the stream. I'll just have to figure out how Streamlabs works again, so I can start all that stuff back up for people to call in or whatever and do donations, all that kind of foolishness. But other than that, I don't really have too much else. Play games, have fun, and to impress other people. We out.
See ya.
Peace.